Join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or link us up on Skype. We look forward to receiving your instant messages on MSN or Yahoo and your text messages on 365-3346. Remember, we have two ears and one mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106.
And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, "Speak to us of children." And he said, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable.
Many of my friends were all misunderstood. They say we stand for nothing and there's no way we ever could. Now I see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. I just feel like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's hard to be persistent when we're standing at a distance. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. Now if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas. No more ribbons on their door. When you trust your television, What you get is what you got. Cause when they own the information, oh, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't care, we just know that the body fails. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. We're still waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. One day our generation is gonna rule the population. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. Now we keep on waiting on the world to change. We keep on we're waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change.
John Mayer, Mayer, Waiting on the World to Change. And before that, the, the words of Khalil Gibran. If you're in Lebanon, that's how they would pronounce his name. It's spelled Kahlil Gibran. In Lebanon, they would say Khalil Gibran, but it's also acceptable to pronounce Gibran. That is one of the two pronunciations. So Khalil Gibran or Khalil Gibran and his piece on children. That's how we started this afternoon. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. Words of wisdom from Khalil Gibran or Khalil Gibran. That's how we started this afternoon on children and John Mayer, Waiting on the World to Change. That's one of those recordings that we don't hear a lot, but lyrical content also very good. Me and all my friends were all misunderstood. They say we stand for nothing, and there's no way we ever could. Now we see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. We just feel like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. It's hard to be persistent when we're standing at a distance. So we keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. Now, if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas nor more ribbons on their door. And when you trust your television, what you get is what you got. Because when they own the information, oh, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't care, we just know that the fight ain't fair. So we keep waiting, we keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. And we're still waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. One day, our generation is going to rule the population. So we keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. Now we keep on waiting, waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting. We're waiting on the world to change. We waiting on the world to change, waiting on the world to change, waiting on the world to change.
We're still waiting, waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. One day our generation is gonna rule the population. So we keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
Education plays a critical role in the lives of our young people. At the American Foundation for the University of the West Indies, we ensure financially challenged students across the Caribbean are given increased access to higher education so they can continue to transform their lives and the lives of others. Support our mission in shaping the lives of our future leaders. Donate to educate. Contact our office at 212-759-9345 for more details.
Deposit will have insurance. It's an account that comes with assurance. Let me teach you why it's important to have deposit insurance. Just in case your bank crash down, no need to put your hands for your head. Up to 1.2 million you get for all accounts that's affected. Yeah, what room you can start it? As your house party. Pay your mortgage with ease. JBIC is a smart win. Deposit we bring safety. JBIC them protect me. Bank and building society protected. The flow you must get with. Protect your savings smartly. We urging you to call it. Guarantee you need us. We take banking serious.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Tune in to Farm Talk every second and third Tuesday of each month at 6:18 a.m. for the feature Hyper Food Independence. Hyper Food Independence will focus on solutions for farmers, such as land, animal husbandry, agronomy, and more. That's Hyper Food Independence every second and third Tuesday from 6:18 to 6:30 a.m. during Farm Talk, only on Power 106 FM. Hyper Food Independence is sponsored by Hypro.
trust your television. What you get is what you got. Cause when they own the information, oh, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't care, we just know that the body's fair, so we keep on waiting.
It's interesting. I'm taking note of the fact that this live video that we're doing of today's edition of Both Sides of the Story, there's a notification that the video has been blocked and can't be viewed in Russia. That's what we're seeing right now. That's the notification. Your video is blocked and can't be viewed in Russia. Well. Poor little we. Anyway, that's the notification that we're seeing now. Your video is blocked and can't be viewed in Russia. Oh, what a thing. Well, we're not into paranoia. Cynicism over paranoia. So we'll continue to be cynical based on what we know and what our collective experience is. But definitely not paranoid. Definitely not. Remember, in 1999, the world was supposed to have come to an end. 1999, because of what was described as the millennium bug. The millennium bug, and all computers would stop working, and the computers and systems would crash, and so on and so forth. We continue to evolve as a people in this world, and we have been gifted certain talents to be able to discern and to preempt, etc., and to identify, among other things. And so it's just a matter of us applying ourselves, and time will tell, as Bob Marley likes to remind us. Time will tell. What shall we do? Let's properly start today's edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. It's the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 29th day of the 5th month of 2023, the International Year of Millets. A millet is a cereal grown in warm countries and regions with poor soils, bearing a large crop of small seeds, which are chiefly used to make flour. 2023 is also the International Year of Dialogue as a guarantee of peace. The American Hospital Association and affiliated American health organizations are marking May as Mental Health Awareness Month, Stroke Awareness Month, Arthritis Awareness Month, Better Hearing and Speech Month, Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, Global Employee Health and Fitness Month, Healthy Vision Month, Hepatitis Awareness Month, Melanoma, Skin Cancer Detection and Prevention Month, Asthma and Allergy Awareness Month, Celiac Disease Awareness Month, High Blood Pressure Education Month, Osteoporosis Awareness and Prevention Month, Physical Fitness and Sports Month, Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month, and Older Americans Month. The month of May is being observed here in Jamaica as National Exporters Month, Child Month, Lupus Awareness Month, Education Month, and Workers Month. Reconciliation Week activities are on in Australia. The anniversary of the death of President Ali Soli is being commemorated in the Comoros, and Baha'is are marking the ascension of Baha'u'llah. Hoy es lunes el 29 de mayo 2023 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est lundi le 29 mai 2023 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Monday, the 29th of May, 2023, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome. So we have been hearing from a couple of our regular callers talk of the phasing out of money as we know it, etc., etc. And this has apparently prompted a response from the finance minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, who has hit back at comments by opposition leader Mark Golding regarding the government's push for adoption of Jamaica's digital currency and the timeline for release of the country's new banknotes. In a Twitter post responding to a video made by Mr. Golding, Dr. Clark stated that there is no digital currency mandate and the new banknotes will be in circulation by the mid-June timeline, which was previously announced. Mr. Golding claimed in his video posted to social media that Prime Minister Andrew Holness was driving fear into people by claiming we are going to go fully digital. Those are the words of purportedly the words of the Prime Minister, or the description of what the Prime Minister was supposedly doing with respect to, in inverted commas, driving fear into people by claiming we are going to go fully digital. He said the Prime Minister explained that this would include digital currencies and the phasing out of cash, which Mr. Golding argued is impractical, given limited internet access and banking services, as well as the lack of a legal framework. The way it's being sold is as if it's imminent and it's going to replace cash in the near future. And of course, there is no preparation for that, he stated. You know, the Prime Minister needs to calm down and move in a more measured way and take the people along with the full understanding that this is not going to imperil them or put them at some kind of disadvantage. Mr. Golding also suggested that the government had announced the introduction of new banknotes without properly planning the implementation and was now in peril of missing the mid-June timeline for rollout. However, Dr. Clark questioned Mr. Golding's motives for posting the video. The opposition leader is grasping at straws, desperate for relevance. What else explains propagation of rumors and untruths? He asked on Twitter. Dr. Clark noted that the Bank of Jamaica has been working with retail banks to reconfigure their automated teller machines, ATMs, to accept the new notes. And remember, new banknotes in circulation doesn't mean that the old banknotes will suddenly be invalid and withdrawn. Both the new banknotes and the old banknotes will be in circulation in parallel for at least 2 years, he further explained. Minister with responsibility for information, Robert Morgan, also responded to Mr. Golding's video with a TikTok post stating that nobody is forcing anyone to use a digital currency. Cash is always going to be a part of our society. There is no plan by the government to force anyone to use digital currencies. Underscored. And that story is trending right now on the Jamaica-Gleaner.com website. You can read it for yourselves and draw your own conclusions. Also trending at this time, NHT workers stage sick out. NHT workers stage sick out. Dozens of National Housing Trust NHT workers a sick out Monday morning, protesting an outstanding job evaluation issue only a week after the 1-year anniversary of a similar industrial action. Remember that? When the group walked off the job. And that's another of the stories trending. We have to leave it there for now. In a moment, it will be time for today's edition of Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. Farming today is becoming more technologically driven. No wonder Jacto farming equipment has the cutting edge. With Jacto, you are guaranteed sprayers that are durable, user-friendly, low maintenance, have controlled application, efficient and practical. Call Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica at 876-757-0022 and inquire about our Jacto manual and battery-operated sprayers.
Rohan Johnson. We'd love to have you on, except that we're going straight to Land Solutions, which is an hour.
Need water
So you
for
wouldn't be able to get on
purposes?
until after
Apply to the
3:30.
National Irrigation Commission for your irrigation services.
All right.
Let's grow smart and
Sorry
eat
about
smart with
You
irrigated
too. Take
agriculture.
care.
Call National Irrigation Commission at 876-927-6727. Visit their website at www.nicjamaica.com or visit any of their office locations today. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call this and every Wednesday evening at 8 with Powering Your Health. Powering Your Health is Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to health and wellness. Your one-stop place to power a healthy lifestyle. How can we help you to power your health? You can reach the show anytime by calling 876-922-411225 or by sending a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Brought to you by Benson Pharmacy and Wellington Dental. That's Powering Your Health. Powerful health and wellness discussion and interaction This and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. only on Power 106 FM.
Sides of the story.
Do you have a title for your land? Are you thinking about buying or selling land? How much is your property worth? Tune in to Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. for the NLA and You, a program that examines the National Land Agency's role in building an efficient and transparent land titling system for Jamaicans. That's the NLA and You on Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. The National Land Agency, one goal, committed to serve you better.
It's a Monday afternoon, just after 2:30, and that means time for Land Solutions. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. The text line for Land Solutions is the same as the WhatsApp number, and that number is 876-387-3183. 876-387-3183 for your text messages and your WhatsApp messages. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. Online, the website is landsolutionsja.com, landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja, facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown Findley and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. In fact, on a Thursday, things get even busier at the Ocho Rios law offices of Brown Findley and Company because it's a special time. There's a period of time allocated from 10 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon to deal strictly and in even more detail matters related to the sale or purchase of land. If you wish to get in touch with the law firm Brown Findley and Company, which would be a good thing that you call first, you call ahead and then you're advised accordingly. The numbers to call: 876-908-3518 or 876-908-1950. That's 876-908-1950. In the meantime, let's get ready and say hello and welcome to our host on today's edition of Land Solutions, attorney at law, Gloria Brown.
Thanks again, Dervan, and good afternoon to our listeners. Welcome again to Land Solutions. Please give me a call and send me a text message. The numbers to call me if you want to speak to me live, 922-411-325. That's 876-922-411-325. And the text line, you want to send me a WhatsApp message or a text message, the number 876-387-3183. 876-387-3183 if you want to send me a message. And remember, you can be in Ocho Rios, God willing, this Thursday between 10 and 1. So give us a call, make an appointment to see us in Ocho Rios this Thursday for any matters you have related to land ownership, buying land, selling land. And remember that I've spoken to persons about buying land before, and Ms. Finlay Calicia has as well, to say be careful in buying. And for those outside of Jamaica, you can't just come out on a weekend to buy a piece of land. Buying land is one of the biggest investments that we'll ever make. So it's crucial that we do some due diligence, do some checks before you buy land. And don't just say, because I find that every time I say to persons, be cautious how you buy that piece of land. The first thing they tell me, but other people buy it as well. That's always the thing. I don't know what's wrong with us as a people. We're always saying other people buy it, so why can't I buy it? But when you have bought it, don't expect that you're going to be able to I'm going to be able to give you a title next week, because some of the things we have not bought them in a proper way. So it's difficult, sometimes partially impossible, for you to get a title in the near future. So there are some persons who will not see a title in their lifetime because of how they have bought the land. I spoke about it all the time. You buy a piece of land, and the first thing the title says, you look at the man has a title, you have bought a piece in it. The title says the land is not to be cut up. What are we going to do when you only bought a square? The first thing when you see that, we're going to have to apply for what we call a modification of covenant. So you apply to the court, and the modification is an expensive process. I see where the banks are holding on to $800,000 for the modification. $800,000, I saw that last week. That's what the bank is holding on to when a sale is done and there is a breach. They are saying we are not going to give you back $800,000 until that breach is corrected. So it just shows how expensive it is to correct something like that. So when the title says it's not to be subdivided, you'd have to make an application to court for a modification or a discharge of the covenant. And you're looking at, as I said, between $500,000 and $800,000 to get this modification done. And it's not a surety. It's not a surety. So even when we are giving the undertaking, you're undertaking to make an application to the court, because you cannot guarantee that you're going to succeed. Because you might apply to the court and the parish council might say, we're not going to give approval, because the parish council does not give the approval to the modification. The court is not going to allow it. So the first in the parish council is going to say, hey, the piece of land is too small. We do not allow persons in Steigerville to cut up land so small. If you're not cutting up the land, that's fine. If you don't need the approval, if the title doesn't say it's not to be cut up, then you don't have a problem. The problem arises when you need to get the approval of the parish council, because you have to get their approval when the title says the land is not to be subdivided, or the land is not to be subdivided without the approval of the parish council. That's when you run into problems. So I'm saying to the person, be careful how you buy it. Don't just see land and say, sell me a piece, because everybody is buying and putting up houses. And we have, as a country, we're going to have to, as a country, look and see how we're going to enforce the rules. You just can't have people just say, I'm just going to buy, I'm just going to build, I'm just going to do what I want. We cannot progress as a country the way we are dealing with land. I constantly speak about De Soto and his book, Why We Cannot Progress and Become a First World Country. De Soto is saying it's because of how we deal with land. We have the assets, we have the expensive land, we have the property rights, we own the land, but we hold it with defective documents that we cannot walk into a bank to access credit, documentation that we cannot use to go and use as collateral to educate our children to start a little business. We can't go into the bank and say, lend me $2 million to start a business, when the papers we have for the expensive house just have receipts or nothing else, a word of mouth Mama gave me before she died. So as a people and as a country, the government is going to have to revamp all the strategies and look at a new way of dealing with land, look at a new way of addressing the land issues if we're going to progress. And we're going to have to revolutionize how we are doing these things. Because when you look at some of the data coming out of some of the parishes and see the registration levels, like for some parishes, just 30% of the properties titled. 30%. So like 60% of the properties in some parishes not titled. Which is why some of the parishes are so underdeveloped. Kingston and St. Andrew, look at the registration, is nearly 80% titled, which is why those parishes have more, they are more developed. They are more advanced. And I call on the powers that be, that declare areas, because sometimes when clients call and ask me to and they ask questions, you notice that sometimes I'll ask the clients, what parish is the property in? Because there are some laws that apply to some parishes. Partially all of the parishes. There's a law called the Registration of Titles, Cadastral Mapping and Tenure Clarification Special Provisions Act. And under that law, we call it the Special Provisions Act of 2005. But under that law, you can get a lot of waivers and it's much easier to get title for property under that law. But the thing is that it applies to all the parishes, but it doesn't apply fully to Kingston, St. Andrew, and it doesn't apply to Portmore, except for Navajo in Portmore. But in St. Andrew, it applies to Lawrence Tavern, to Rock Hall, and I think to the Golden Spring might be above rocks. No, it applies to Rock Hall, Lawrence Tavern, and I remember the other one shortly. But there are a lot of rural areas in rural St. Andrew and I wish the politicians would really push to have their different areas, Burnside Hill, Bull Bay, or a lot of rural parts of St. Andrew that need to come under this law to make it easier for persons to get titles, because a lot of these persons in the areas that this law does not apply to, they will never see a title that easily, or a lot of people will never be able to afford a title in some of these areas. So I'm begging persons, please, I'm begging the powers that please look at rural St. Andrew, all of rural St. Andrew, and allow the Special Provisions Act to apply. So persons in these areas will be able to get the benefit of this law, because it's a little unfair. I see where persons in, like, for example, you have Red Hills, above, you have Rock Hall in St. Andrew that persons can benefit, but you have small areas nearby, Burnside Hill, some other areas that are nearby, Cypress Hall, St. Andrew, that really would need the benefit of the Special Provisions Act. And persons who are listening in those areas, you need to really lobby with your members of parliament, your councillors, and push them to have the Special Provisions Act applied to these areas. And the Special Provisions Act is a law that was passed to assist in titling, because when you use that law, you don't have to go through the stamp office to stamp documents, you don't have to pay the transfer tax. Your application goes straight to the titles office. The proof of ownership is a little easier to satisfy. So it makes titling easier, and anything to make titling easier, we need to look at in these times. Because as a people, we are really not progressing at the rate. When you look at the brain power, when you have at the skill sets that we have, when you look at how innovative persons are, you just have to just go around and look at any little town center and see how many signs are there. How many signs are around the town center. Everybody put some little business. You just have to look at, even just walk down to and see everybody with that little business, and you realize that we really have the capacity to do better, because we have the mindset. But it's too difficult. It's like pulling teeth. It's too difficult to get the capital to advance ourselves. And we need to look at all of that and how much better we are going to be able to deal with land, and how we're going to make it easier for our people to get the documentation to move us forward. This is Land Solution.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Energize your life the right way with DBJ. Yeah, you must can save. Energy solution. Choose one today for your house or your business. Money you go save. Yeah, DBJ. Energize your life the right way. The Development Bank of Jamaica Limited is here to help you with the purchase and installation of renewable energy systems to help you save on your energy bill. Contact your business banker or bank today. Energize your business or home the right way with DBJ Energy Loan.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5, 876-922-4113-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions. That number is 876-387-3183. 876-387-3183. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja, facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown, Findley and Company. And speaking of Findley, good afternoon to Calicia Findley. We haven't seen her in a while, but we're sure she's doing well. Good afternoon, Calicia Findley. Of course, Attorney at Law Gloria Brown is doing duties as usual. And let's remind you of the numbers to call the law firm Brown, Findley and Company, 876-908-3518 or 876-908-1950. If you wish to call the Ocho Rios offices of the law firm Brown, Findley and Company, you could do so as well. That number is 876-974-6083, 876-974-6083. Once again, here's Attorney at Law Gloria Brown. You have a caller, Ms. Brown.
Thank you, Dervan. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Brown.
Yes.
I have two questions. If I'm residing on a piece of property, you see, and the property was sold to someone else, and the person who purchased it would have gone through a financial institution, can I claim adverse possession if the person there's a lien on the property by a financial institution?
That's the challenge. I'm glad you asked that question, because as long as a mortgage is on the property, your application is not going to be entertained.
My application for adverse possession is not going to be entertained.
It's not going to be entertained if there's a mortgage on the property. As a matter of fact, that is something that a lawyer and
you are breaking up around here.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you now.
Yes, that's a matter that a lawyer and I have been discussing from Friday, and we even discussed it further this morning, because we were looking at the fact that a particular situation where a mortgage has been on a title for 40 years by an institution that no longer exists, but it is preventing the adverse. So your application is not going to be entertained.
Okay, so basically once the person has been, then adverse possession will not be entertained.
Because of the mortgage, if the mortgage were discharged, then you'll be able to entertain it. Which is why I said to persons, why are we waiting so long to do things? Why would you allow it to reach the stage where somebody has bought it before you did something about it?
Understand. All right. Question. Can a diagram for a property be expired? Is there a limited time in which you can, like a diagram can only last for before you have to do another one?
Well, after 7 years, the diagram expires. It's a new one. The surveyor will just do a declaration to update that one. And the declaration will last another 7 years. The surveyor will only do a new one if the boundaries have changed. I think I probably lost the caller. But what the caller was asking, if the survey diagram expires after a period of time, and I hope the person is listening. But after 7 years, the survey diagram, if you do not use it to get your title and you just have the diagram there, after 7 years, the diagram will expire and you need to get the diagram updated. As long as the boundaries are still in place and they have not changed, then the surveyor will come in, check, find the pegs, and do a surveyor's declaration. The declaration will last another 7 years. The first question the caller asked about, though, was about the mortgage preventing the adverse. And if a mortgage is there, your adverse possession application is not going to be entertained. The numbers to call 922-411-325, 922-411-325, and the text line is 387-3183, 876-387-3183. A text line. Can an executor change a title to his or her name, and if so, how long after he or she takes it over? The thing is, when a person, and who is an executor? An executor is a person who is appointed in a will. So when you make a will, you appoint a person as your executor. And the executor's responsibility is to carry out everything that the testator, the person who made the will, carry out the instructions of the testator. The property has to go in the executor's name before it goes in the names of the beneficiaries. So sometimes we see the property in the executor's name, and we see he has transferred it to himself. But the executor or she or they, the executor is only on the title on transmission, we call it. But the executor's name will go on the title before it will go to the beneficiary. Because the title office will not usually entertain a transfer from the executor to himself unless it is will to the executor. So don't just jump and start accusing the executor of trying to steal the property. When you see the executor's name on the title, it has to go in the executor's name before the executor can transfer to the beneficiaries. And sometimes the executor is caught between a rock and a hard place because a lot of times some of the beneficiaries have died, or if one beneficiary has died, the executor cannot transfer it now to the other beneficiaries. If Adrian is here, the Adrian line seems to be open. So the executor cannot transfer it now to the beneficiaries if even one beneficiary has died. Well, they could transfer to those who are alive, but it becomes a bit of a challenge. So don't just jump and say executor has robbed the property when the executor's name is on the title. That's the job of the executor, to put his or her or their names on the title before transferring to the beneficiary, which is why we encourage persons, when you are making your will, choose your executors carefully, because executors are powerful people. And sometimes we put in the will, Dervan or Adrian can hear me, there's a sound like wind, so I don't know if a line is open, like a fan. So, which is why we say choose your executors carefully, because executors are powerful people. And the best people to be your executors are your beneficiaries. You're willing the thing to your spouse and your children, as long as they are responsible enough, make them your executors. And you can have as many as 4 executors. Choose them carefully, because there are people who will step in the shoes of the dead person. When somebody is appointed your executor and they get the grant of probate, that order from the court to say probate is granted, anything the person who died could do, executor can do. They step in the shoes of the dead person. So choose your executors carefully. So executor cannot really just take over your property like that. So there's not a period of time for executor to take over your property. Executor is in a position of trust. The executor is a trustee. Okay, and it is required of the executor that he or she carries out the duties, the responsibility. Miss Brown, I struggle to convince my friends and family and John public that they can be willed out of property, that their names are not on titles. I tell them they need to claim no while sole owners are alive. Please remind us. Long time listener, I struggle to convince my friends and family and John public that they can be willed out of property, that their names are not on the title. They need to claim now while the owners are alive. And that's true, because remember, another thing we need to note is that persons don't have to leave anything for anybody, So your parents your father has a property, he has his wife, your mother, and he has his 10 children. He doesn't have to will anything for any of you, He can will everything for a lady he has just met yesterday. He doesn't have any obligation to will anything for you. Which is why I encourage persons to deal with the properties in your lifetime. Get your parents, especially your older relatives, to sort out their properties. Because sometimes we know dementia sets in, Alzheimer's sets in, and sometimes they make irrational decisions, or persons influence them, which your persons have sometimes taken away person's parents, and you can't find daddy, and daddy dies, and then you hear that there's a will and it's properly signed by daddy, it's his signature, but did he have the capacity? Which is why, my new theme is that a warm gift is better than a cold gift. So So give it while you're alive. Give it while the blood is running warm in your vein if you don't have to leave it by will, which is why I push the life interest, which is something that I'm introducing to a lot of my colleagues. The life interest, give it to the parents for life, keep it for life parents, and say after this to the children. But those are some of the things that we need to look at. But I join with you, my listener, to encourage persons, make the wills we need. We cannot in 2013 be talking rubbish about and not and make a will if I make it are going to die. Because I saw where Mr. Brown and Mr. Black, as soon as they made the wills, they died. They died after they made the wills because they made them when they were dying. So don't blame the wills on the death. Because many of us waited until the very last minute while we are dying to make them. So pure deathbed wills we're having. Make them while you are strong, when you can make it over. So you can say, this is my third will, this is my fourth will, this is my fifth will. Do it like that. Don't just wait until you are dying, because we don't know if we'll have the time, if we'll have the privilege, okay, of lying down and having the capacity to make them. And a lot of time, because we have not made them, who benefit might not have been who we wanted to benefit, or in the proportion to which they are benefiting. Maybe there's one particular person you wanted to get a little bit more because they were there for you at the end. So I beg of first, let us get rid of this mindset to say if we make them, we're going to die, so we're not going to make them. We need to stop. As a people, we cannot advance when we have such backward notions or beliefs. The text line 387-3183, 876-387-3183. Email gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. That's the email. And remember, you can call me now in studio 922-411-325. What are the steps to put my kids on the title and how long the process takes? What we need from you, we need a copy of your title, copy of your tax paper, name, address, occupation, TRN, name, address, occupation, TRN of the children, and to know, we need to know the value of the property. The process will take about 3 months or less. Well, 3 months or a little more, because the system is a little slow now. But remember, I always say to persons, be careful how you don't just jump and add the children. First of all, the children are under 18. I encourage persons to make a will rather than put the children on, because when you put children on your title at that age, then you can't borrow money or you can't sell the property without their permit, without a court order. Or if you're going to put on the children and you insist, then we do what we call a reservation clause, which says that we reserve to you during the infancy of the children the right to deal with the property as if you're adult, as if you're the sole owner. So I put on a child who was just born yesterday on the title, and I say reserve it on to the parents during the infancy of the child the right to deal with the property as if the parents were the owner until the child reaches the capacity. So you can do that as well. Also, remember, when you add the children, the first thing I ask, do the children do they have properties for themselves already? Have they accessed their NHD benefits already? Because remember that when you put on a child on a title, NHD might say the person already has property, so they can't get a full benefit. And a lot of times persons cannot afford to give up the NHD benefit because it's one of the cheapest sources of funding that we would get, and it's also a very valuable contribution now. So be careful and get proper advice before adding children. This is Land Solutions. This is Gloria Brown.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high-quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3 o'clock.
Both sides of the story.
Do you have a title for your land? Are you thinking about buying or selling land? How much is your property worth? Tune in to Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. for The NLA and You, a program that examines the National Land Agency's role in building an efficient and transparent land titling system for Jamaicans. That's The NLA and You on Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal, committed to serve you better.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions for all your land related matters. This is the place, this is the time. Here are the numbers to call: 876 922 4113 to 5. 876 922 4113 to 5. The text line for Land Solutions is the same as the WhatsApp number: 876 387 3183. 876 387 3183. On the web, it's landsolutionsja.com. Landsolutionsja.com. The text, the email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja. facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown, Findley and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. And they encourage customers and potential clients to call ahead before turning up. Call and you'll be advised accordingly. The numbers to call the law firm Brown, Findley and Company: 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. On a Thursday between 10 in the morning and 1 p.m., there is, I guess you could call it a legal aid clinic in a sense, because these are the lawyers of the law firm Brown, Findley and Company, giving some extra time to clients and helping clients to work out whatever kinks they have in their respective situations, that those can be worked out and guidance be given and the appropriate steps be taken to ensure that all are served. So that's between 10 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon every Thursday. Once again, let's hand you back to Attorney at Law, Gloria Brown.
Thank you, Dervan. And Kelly said, sign Dervan and should be on in a few weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Remember the numbers to call: 922-411-225, 922-411, I'm sorry, 922-411-224. So the numbers to call now: 876-922-411-224. And the text line to send me a text message or a WhatsApp message: 876-387-3183. Good day, Ms. Brown. Hoping you are doing well. I have a question. If I bought a lot of land that is less than a quarter acre, can I get a title for it? Reason for asking: years ago I heard the saying that it couldn't be done. That's not true. There's no size limit. There's no size limit to be able to get a title. I've got titles for property that's quarter square. Okay, that's quarter of a square. And you know that the quarter acre is 2.5 squares. And I've got for quarter that size. So there's no size limit. What's going to limit you is where you have to get permission from the parish council. And when you have to get permission from the parish council, they are going to say the lot is too small in most situations like that. And sometimes people will complain and say, but I go to places like Portmore and I see smaller lots. But when you look at the thing, a lot of times, when you apply to the parish council for permission, the surveyor has to prepare about 25 copies of the blueprint and send to different agencies. One agency that will have to approve the subdivision is the Ministry of Health. And that agency will most times will say, hey, we are not going to allow that, because imagine you have an acre of land and everybody should buy a square. That's 10 squares. You're going to have 10 septic tanks. It might eventually affect the underground water supply. So they want bigger lots where persons can have proper sewage system. And secondly as well, in rural areas, they don't want people living too near to each other. You want persons to have a little part of land where they can put up a little backyard farming, etc. So for various reasons. So when you look at places like Portmore, they have a central sewage system. Nobody has to dig a septic tank or a pit. So you can't really compare them with a rural area subdivision. So you'll be able to get most parishes will allow quarter acre. There's hardly any parish that will say quarter acre is too small. But again, remember, you can't just go and say, Mr. Brown, sell me a quarter acre. If he has 1 acre or any more than the quarter acre, you just buying a piece, the surveyor needs to prepare the subdivision approval application to the parish council. And remember, the parish council, even when they give the approval, they're not going to allow you to get title until the proper road, Barber Green Road, as we call it, is in place. They're going to want to make sure water is provided for electricity, fire hydrant, sometimes even turning circles of vehicles can turn. So subdivision is a big, massive undertaking, you know. So a lot of times I see where persons have done subdivisions and they come out having lost their shirt because you are cutting up land and you're selling, I'm selling the lot for $4 million. Not realizing that when you start looking at putting in the roads and the light and the water and the other things for development, each lot might cost you nearly $2.3 million you have to pay out as expense for the subdivision, and you find that you have lost your shirt. Sometimes you bought the land to do the development. So a lot of times I say to my clients, you cannot afford to just tell people are selling land for this without knowing your expenses. So you have to do all of those things because you might say, $5 million sounds good for this lot, but $4 million or $3 million out of it will be expensive to put in the road and the light and the water and the sewer system and the curb walls and all of those things. So you have to really count the cost before you start deciding on prices. Get somebody with the knowledge to assess what it's going to cost you. A lot of developers will be able to say to you, each lot budget for expenses, budget each lot $2 million or $3 million. And that will be a guide. But don't just jump and decide because a lot of persons have undertaken subdivisions and can't finish them. And we have so many unfinished subdivisions around that persons have paid money in and have not been able to see a title, and their children and children's children will not see a title because of reasons just like this. And a lot of them have borrowed money, and we go back to the first question that the first caller asked. You have bought your piece, but the person was doing the development went and borrowed money. There's a mortgage on the title, they have abandoned the development. What's going to happen? The mortgage company is going to sell and even just start your house on it. You're going to find that you have lost the house. So those are some of the challenges that we have when it comes to land, to dealing with land and all of those things. So I beg of my listeners, do not just go and come up with decisions and make decisions about buying land, selling land and all of those things unless you have done your due diligence and you have got expert advice on where you are standing, what your position is. The numbers to call 922-411-224, 876-922-411-224, and the text line is 387-3183. 387-3183, the text line. And remember that we have an office in Kingston. That's at the Winchester Business Center in Halfway Tree, Shop 39. Also, we have an office in Ocherius, and a lawyer is in the office in Ocherius every day, but I will be there this Thursday. I'm there on a Thursday. But we beg of you to call and make an appointment. The numbers to call the Ocherius office, 876-974-6083. 974-6083 is the number for the Ocherius office, and attorney is there every day. And the Kingston office, you can call 908-3518 or 908-1950 in order to speak to me on the matter. Kalisa is off for a little while. You soon hear her voice again on Land Solutions. Someone is asking what is the Special Provisions Act. It's a law, it's a special law that was passed in 2005 to make titling easier for many parts of the country. Different areas came under the act at different times. But as I said, it doesn't apply to all of Jamaica. It applies to all the parishes except it doesn't apply to Portmore, but it applies to Nagahead in Portmore. It applies to all the rest of St. Catherine. It doesn't apply to St. Andrew or St. Andrew, but it applies to Rock Hall, Lawrence Tavern, and I think it's above Rock to St. Catherine. I think it's Golden Spring in St. Andrew that it applies to. And it doesn't apply to Kingston, but it applies to Rosetown in Kingston. And it's a law that makes tithing easier, because under that law, you can get a waiver of subdivision if you can show that you have occupied the property for more than 7 years. You can get the requirement for subdivision waived as long as the title does not say anything about subdivision, about restrict subdivision. If the title restricts subdivision, you're going to have a bit of a challenge. So if you have a piece of land and you bought a little piece of land in St. Catherine and you bought it some time ago, then, and it's part of a subdivision, you bought a man had 10 acres and you bought a little piece, even a little half a square, and you can show that you have been on it from your bought it, then we can get a title for you as long as there's no title saying it's got to be cut off. Yes, and the areas are all of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, all of these parishes, all of St. Mary, all of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, except Portmore, which is Naggohead, not Kingston, except Rosetown. It applies to Lawrence Tavern and its environs at St. Andrew, Rockford and its environs, and Golden Spring and its environs. It also applies to Tel Aviv, Southside, and Rose Garden. It applies, as I said, to Naggohead. So the areas in St. Andrew that it will apply to, Lawrence Tavern and its environs, Golden Spring, and Rockford and its environs. So a lot of areas, as I said, like Burnside Valley, Cypress Hall, some rural areas. When you look going out to Bull Bay and some of those areas, it doesn't apply to those. And we're saying that the powers that be, they need to look to make sure that this law becomes applicable. Because when you look at the cost of when you don't have this law, because when you're using this law, you don't have to pay transfer tax, you don't have to pay stamp duty. You don't even have to go to the stamp office when you're using this law. You go straight to the title office with the application. Proof of ownership is a little easier. And anything to make tithing easier is what we need right now, because we're going to have to revamp this entire tithing system that we have if we're going to really give persons a chance to advance themselves and to make this country a first world country. When you look at this, just have to go to any school gate at this hour, and I'm sitting in front of one right now, and see the droves of children coming out, that you realize we have to do something to make life better for these children, so that scamming is not an option, so that crime is not an option. We have to do something better, and one of the ways we can do it better is the land. Get the title so the parents can start a little business. Technology is the way to go right now. There are so many little options that we have in terms of starting new businesses using technology. Even technology in agriculture, but where are we going to get the funding? Many of us some people can walk in the bank and their face is collateral. Many of us, our faces are not collateral. We have to have a piece of title. Our names are not collateral. We have to have this piece of paper. So we have to look, the government has to look at a way to make this system work. Because even when you're pushing it, you're getting a title for somebody. In a few years, the person passes on and the title is like it was before dead capital, because the person has not made a will. The person made a will, it has not been probated, so that is dead capital again, because a dead man cannot resurrect to go and sign the documentation in order to get access to credit, because for the person to use the title as collateral, which is why I'm saying to persons, having sorted out the title, do some succession planning. This is land solution.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
Are you planning to buy land or property? Before you make your purchase, find out who is the legal owner or who is legally authorized to sell the property. Ensure all property tax payments are up to date, and consult an attorney at law who will guide you through the process and protect your interests. Use eLand Jamaica at nla.gov.jm to check on matters pertaining to property information. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. Email asknla@nla.gov.jm or WhatsApp us at 876-418-5089. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal, to serve you better.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876 922 4113 to 5. 876 922 4113 to 5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions, which means you can send your text messages and your WhatsApp messages to 876 387 3183. 876 387 3183. On the World Wide Web, it's landsolutionsja.com. Landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja. Facebook.com/landsolutionsja. We have a caller for you, and we also have a question coming through on our WhatsApp on this end. Ms. Brown, let's see.
Let me take the caller, Dervan.
Sure, go ahead, please.
Okay, thanks. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to find out how you obtain that piece of land that the father has been paying taxes for over 30 years. However, I just have the taxes paper which is in his grandfather's name, but don't have a title for it.
Have you surveyed the land?
Not yet, ma'am.
All right, that's the first thing. Survey the land, and also my text number, my WhatsApp number is 876 387 3183. You're going to send me a message, and all the message is going to say is title. So anybody who wants a title, just send me a WhatsApp message 876 387 3183, and I will send you what you need to get a title.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, sir. But you need to start with the survey.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
Okay, sir. Thank you, too, sir.
Yes, here's the message now. The person says, "Blessings, Sir D, and good afternoon to Ms. Brown. Can you ask Ms. Brown if the Special Provisions Act of 2005 can be used on subdivided property that the titles can't be released because of infrastructure requirements, that's not possible to be constructed?"
One of the, and that's an excellent question, but one of the requirements under the Act is that the subdivision must not have been refused by the parish council, or no application has already been made to the parish council for you to use the Act, which is unfortunate, because I think we really need to revisit that situation. Because years ago, it was agreed that the parish councils will release titles for subdivisions like those, with a condition to be imposed on the title to say that the parish council will not be responsible for the infrastructure development until it is brought up to a standard. So what does that mean? If you have a lot of these developments, persons have bought, they are built, they are living there, but they will never ever see a title, because the persons who made the who initiated the development have not put in the infrastructure, and we are having a problem. But for this particular listener, I'm going to ask you to give me a call after the program on the number 876 387 3183. 387 3183. I want the listener to give me a call. But it's unfortunate. And we have developments like that all over Jamaica. The infrastructure not there. And another part of the problem is that the reality is that in this little third world country we are living in, a lot of times if the parish councils are imposing some first world infrastructure requirements that will never be satisfied. Persons have, I see where, for example, a person has died leaving property for the 5-6 children. And the children live on the property, they have the houses, they have the little road that they drive the car, but they want to get individual titles, and parish council is asking for all kind of things. They already live there. Give them their titles. Let them move on to their land with the condition on the title to say we will not take over the development. But why are you preventing them from accessing their titles when they could use the title to get credit to do the exact same thing that you are saying they don't have? So a lot of the things. When you look at some other countries like us who are more developed, and you see the size of the land that they will allow people to get title for, And we have this thing to say, oh, you need to have quarter acre. Tell the man to sell you more. When the man is not selling more, if he's selling more, you can't afford anymore. So a lot of the things we have to revisit. And what happens is that when you look at some of the persons who are making the decisions, they don't have the capacity or the understanding of the implications of some of their decisions. And as I said on the program the other day, somebody was telling me about how they heard a gentleman boasting to say, you know, I mean, the first one of mama children who get the chance to wield power. And that is what it has amounted to. The sons of slaves have become such difficult slave masters that sometimes it is so difficult to do business in Jamaica. It's so difficult to make progress in Jamaica. Because, for example, I was at the exam depot a while ago at Solofield. I was outside on the road trying to get into the gate for more than half an hour. When you see the line that is lining up, waiting to just get in to get a fitness for your vehicle. When you look at the amount of food, man-hours wasted. And there's a tendency in Jamaica, because I'm on my job, as far as I'm concerned, when you come to my office, you don't work, so you can wait as long as you want. You sit in the bank. We cannot. When you go into a bank, for example, in the USA, sometimes you wonder where they make money. You are the only person there. You go to one of these banks that you hear has made billions in profit. And if you don't have 3, 4, 5 hours to wait, then don't bother. We cannot become a first world country. 2030 is a pipe dream. At the rate we're going, we have to start talking about 30-30. God carries first world by 30-30, and that is it would change a lot of things. Not 2030, no way. This is 2023. We cannot continue like this. That's what I'm saying all the time. We cannot continue to deal with land like this. I see the NLA pushing back in a lot of ways to say, hey, we are doing that. We're going to get 7,000 titles for the year. That's it. When you put on 7,000, 14,000 have gone bad. You cannot continue like this. When you do 7,000, another 14,000 persons have already sold a little piece to Mr. John and Mr. John's daughter who live in Fort. We cannot continue like this, and Felicia and I will continue to preach. I know we have made a difference. I know we have changed the mindset. We have created a lot of village lawyers, and we have given, which is what our aim is, we have given people a lot of knowledge. But the two of us alone, we need much more than this, and we need the will, we need the power that we to revamp the system. Just if we have to start from 1889 again, because what does that mean is that the Registration of Titles Act was passed in 1889. That's the first time people ever got titles, 1889. But it has not been a systematic way, and I know they have a systematic system of registration, and even that is not very all that systematic. But there's a new source, and I have to give some credit to that system, that it is really trying to make a difference. But it's just not fast enough. We have to empower a lot more young people to get titles. We have to empower more women. We have to empower more of the poor to get titles. And I've said all the time, when a man has a title for a little piece of land, it's very unlikely that he's going to become, and he's so busy trying to farm and so boasting with his title that he's going to become a more responsible citizen. It's unlikely that he's going to end up in GP. So we have to look at a new way to deal with this, a new way of making it more affordable. Making title be something that is not a dream, but is a norm. And we realize that a lot of land is really going out of the reach of people, because there are some people there when the property is valued 50 million, they are willing to pay 70 million. Which is why, again, I'm saying to persons who your father died and left a little piece for you and you have 5 children, think about it when you say you're going to sell it. Because these children will not be able to buy it. Or about trying to get it cut up and give everybody a piece so they can at least have a house and start from scratch, really. Don't start from scratch, but start with a little jump start. So look at some of these things. Many of us selling that we'll never be able to buy again, or our children will never be able to buy it.
Just a quick follow-up, Ms. Brown. The listener who sent the message with respect to the Special Provisions Act sends a message to say, I heard the response. 5 of the beneficiaries passed, leaving 4 all over 80 years. And he says his dad is 94.
If you have a number for that person, could you please forward it for me, Dervan?
Sure, I could do that right away. Mm-hmm.
Please, I really love to speak to that person to see how we can help. Because that's the very situation I'm talking about. Obviously, somebody died, left this property for the children. 5 have died, the others are in their 80s, and they have not been able to make any progress in terms of getting a title. Those persons should not have been hindered because of subdivision requirements. We really need to revisit how we are dealing with things. And the thing is, you have some persons in making decisions, they are so inflexible. So, well, I can't even blame them sometimes because they have to follow the letter of the law. But we have to revisit how we are dealing with things like these. All of those persons should have been given their titles with the proviso on the title to say you are responsible for putting in the infrastructure. When it's in, then the parish council can give consideration. But you should never have allowed them to die. It's the same problem we're having with the land settlement. As the government has told the person, somebody wrote last week to say they bought theirs in 90s, the parents bought theirs in the 60s. Parents have died, nobody has seen a title. And a lot of these land settlements, it's another 3-4 generations before anybody will see a title. Can't continue like this. So because of that, that's one of the reasons why persons just selling a piece. Because they want a piece to bury daddy, and we haven't been able to improve a lot. All of us poor because daddy bought the 5-acre land, but because he never got a title, all of us generations of poverty. So he died and we don't have money to bury him, so we have to sell a little piece, and the man who bought the little piece can't get a title because the first thing on the land settlement title is not to be cut up. So we continue to preach. Okay, the fact that nobody coming to the altar told me you must stop preaching. So we will continue to preach. And hopefully some persons will, somebody who has power will listen. But we cannot continue like this as a people. Something has to give, and this piece me where you just touch a little part here, touch a little part there, it's not going to work. So my listeners are saying to us, even another thing I need you to know, even though you have not yet sorted out the piece of land, it's yours, make the will. Don't wait until you sort it out because many of us is not going to be sorted out in our lifetime. So don't wait to sort it out. It's yours. You bought it or you're living on it, make the will. And so if anything happens, those who have willed it to can continue the process. Remember that I have an office in Ocho Rios on the Jamaica National Building. I'm always there every day, shop 6 upstairs. And I'll be there, God willing, this Thursday between 10 and 1. So all the persons, okay, in the south with all your land problems, okay, with that they assist you. But remember, if you want to get a title, just send me a text message. My text line is 876-387-3183. 876-387-3183. Just send me a text message. Someone is asking how long it takes to transfer a title from one name to another and the property is given as a gift. I would say 3 to 6 months. The process is slow. It really should not take that long. And remember that if it's one of the special provisions area, then you can get a good relief on the transfer tax. Using Kingston and St. Andrew, you have to pay a 2% tax on whatever fraction you are transferring. So those are some of the things that you need to go out for. I want to say thanks to Dervan this afternoon. And I'll convey your best regards to Callisto, who should be on in a few weeks. Thanks to Adrian and thanks to you, the listeners. Remember, just send me a message, 387-3183. I am Gloria Brown. Have a good day.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs-controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30.
An efficient and transparent land titling system for Jamaicans. That's the NLA and you on both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal, committed to serve you better.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, on the heels of today's edition of Land Solutions with Attorney at Law Gloria Brown. Thank you so much for keeping our company. And those of you who are regular listeners, we really appreciate your commitment and general support. Those who are on board for the first time, welcome. Good afternoon to Paul Miles of the eponymous Paul Miles Foundation. He's watching us online. So too, Natalie Winter, she's asking, when you own the information, you can bend it to fit the city. Oh, she's quoting from the song, today's recording by John Mayer, Waiting on the World to Change. She says, but Dervan, you have a point with something with to opening thought. It sounds like something to think about. All right, thank you, Natalie Winter. Faye Weller says, I wish you, Mr. Dervan, and faithful listeners, a blessed afternoon. Let us give God thanks for a new week. Indeed, we join you in expressing those sentiments. Sharon Richards from Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland says, a warm good afternoon to you, Sir Malcolm, and all listeners out there. I greet you all well on this warm Monday. Likewise, Sharon Richards, be well, be safe. Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine says, good afternoon, Dervan, Malcolm, and thank God for life, and shout out to all the listeners from across the world. Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Good afternoon, Velta Wilson. Norman Hines says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan, Malcolm, and listeners. Good afternoon, Norman Hines. Thank you very much for tuning in and being a part of the experience. All the very best to you. And to go back to an earlier trending story on the Gleaner's website, jamaica-gleaner.com, Russia's Interior Ministry on Monday, today, issued an arrest warrant for U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham following his comments related to the fighting in Ukraine. In an edited video of his meeting on Friday with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that was released by Zelensky's office, Graham, a Republican from South Carolina, noted that the Russians are dying and described the U.S. military assistance to the country as the best money we've ever spent. While Graham appeared to have made the remarks in different parts of the conversation, the short video by Ukraine's presidential office put them next to each other, causing outrage in Russia. Well, no wonder. They have, where is it? They have let's tell you what they have here. Right, your video is blocked and can't be viewed in Russia. So that is what is there. Now, I don't know if it has anything to do with the song that we're playing now, Waiting on the World to Change, and all the lyrical content about our brothers coming home from war, or words to that effect. So I don't know. The Kremlin is apparently listening. Anyway, so that's the information that is trending right now. It's not everything. It's not exhaustive, but that's what we have taken note of so far, and have shared it with you here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Also making the news, man who was on the run for Linstead murder, arrested. Haiti among 18 hotspot countries named by UN agencies of rising hunger risk. That's serious. And we should all take an interest in these matters. As my late mother would say, today for me, tomorrow for you. 4 dead after tourist boat capsizes in storm on Italian lake. We're sorry to hear that. And there's the story of the Guyanese teenager who has been charged with murder over that school fire. She has been remanded. Also making the news, trending on the Jamaica-Gleaner.com website, Panton alleges SSL founder made offer for fraud confession. And that story has been trending since, what was it, since this morning or last night into this morning. And the headline says, Panton alleges SSL founder made offer for fraud confession. Jean Panton, the only person charged in the alleged $3 billion fraud at Stocks and Securities Limited, SSL, claims she confessed because of an alleged offer from her former boss and the company's founder, Hugh Croskery. The former client relationship manager made the claim in her defense in a lawsuit brought against her and 9 others by Gene Ford, an investor. Croskery is the third defendant. You can read on. These stories are on the Gleaner's website, Jamaica-Gleaner.com. You can read at your own speed. And let's just see if there's any other updated stories. We told you about the sick out as already. We told you about the sick out at NHT. Painter killed at bar in Manchester. Sorry to hear about that tragedy. And we also would like to use the opportunity to convey condolences to the family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, well-wishers of the late Honorable Lascelles Chin. His humility was rather staggering based on our experience. And he was very fond of our public sector workers and hence created the various public sector awards in relation to education, like Teacher of the Year, Principal of the Year, and other awards and recognition exercises. May his soul rest in peace and light perpetual shine on his face. Thank you so much for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon, Norman Hines. Thanks for joining us. Over on YouTube, Asher Ash says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan, just tuning in from London, England. Good afternoon, Asher Ash. Karen Rowe says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Good afternoon, Karen Rowe. Sherry Henry says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and listeners. Good afternoon, Sherry Henry. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us, and all the very best. Oh, we haven't checked our WhatsApp and text messages. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. All right, we have a few messages. Let's see. All right, I don't know. Someone is very upset about something and has sent us a picture and attached a name to it and all of that. We're definitely not going to, we're just not able to transmit that kind of information on the air. Thank you for sharing nonetheless. Let's go to the phone lines, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Dervan.
Good afternoon.
Well, Friday I was you had called it on about 40 was holding on, but not you didn't but I'll get you now, so thank the good Lord. All right. When you started the program, right? You said something about Russia blocking your transmission to them.
Well, there's a message that comes up whenever you access the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page, and I'm looking at it now. But you can't see the message. I think I'm the only one who can actually see the message.
Right, and I was
Yeah.
wondering, back in
Yeah.
the days when during the Iraq War, when a whole lot of propaganda and all that you was saying about the thing.
Mhm.
Nothing, well, the Americans didn't block Jamaica for what? And I'm hearing now that you're saying that the Russians are blocking you. I was
Yeah,
last
that's the
Thursday.
notification. It clearly
Right,
says your
yeah,
video is blocked and can't be viewed in Russia.
right.
And there's a padlock there that says beside that only you can see this message. So I'm sharing
And,
it because I'm the only one
right,
who can see it.
yes. And I'm wondering to myself, I hear you talking some languages on the radio that I have no understanding of,
Yes.
or cannot decipher it, or whatever you call it.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if in your language, my brother, is any of the Russian it would vex any of the Russians in any word used in that language thing, because the English I don't hear say nothing about the Russian.
No, it wouldn't be an issue. The I don't know Russian.
Right.
I'll have to
And
teach
to
myself.
be honest, I don't
Mm.
hear say you don't see the into the propaganda coming out about Ukraine and North Korea and all them kind of things. Because I don't hear any at all. Whenever I listen.
Yeah, no,
So
sorry, go ahead.
I was wondering what would upset them. So I'm saying, boy, what is the language that you're using that
No,
I said
the
to God,
languages are Spanish, French, and Chinese. Those are the three languages. And of course, there's English and Jamaican.
my
Yes.
brother, I was just trying to find out.
No,
Anyway, have
yes.
a good day. There are
Thank
some
you.
things that in my country that will never, when I was born, it's happening, and it will never happen until my eyes are closed.
And that
Because
is sad.
this is politics.
Mm.
This is politics, and it behoves each and every one of us to focus on ourselves individually. I will have a better self, right? Because the
Multiplied
collective,
into a better nation.
the collective, you cannot trust.
Mm.
So I'm going to stop come on this radio and start no food about no politics and who me want to see and who me want to see out. Because clearly both sides are the same right now.
I think there's general agreement on that. One moment, please. One moment.
For any project, ABC Electrical Sales has all your electrical supplies at the best prices. 8 Hagley Park Road, Kingston, 754-3714. The time by ABC Electrical Sales is
3:45.
Both sides of the story.
Do you have a title for your land? Are you thinking about buying or selling land? How much is your property worth? Tune in to Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. for the NLA and You, a program that examines the National Land Agency's role in building an efficient and transparent land titling system for Jamaicans. That's the NLA and You on Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal, committed to serve you better.
Now, if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas. No more rivers on their door. But when you trust your television, what you get is what you got. Cause when they own the information, oh, they can bend it all they want. So I've been waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. Not that we don't care.
Thanks for holding. I don't know if you heard that section a while ago in terms of the lyrical content. It does speak about war, and let's see if we can bring this up. So it says, right now, if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas. No more ribbons on their door. And when you trust your television, what you get is what you got. Because when they own the information, oh, they can bend it all they want. Yes.
All right. And remember, Iraq war was full of that, sir. Full of that. About shock and awe.
Yes.
Right? And I was asking the question, what is shock and awe? Shock and awe, they were showing them murdering, maiming and destroying the Iraqi people. And we knew what it was, but they were saying it was, you knew what they were saying, so we're not going back there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going back there to say, them people, my brother, passion this planet to themselves. So each and every one of us have got to passion it for our own selves. There's a 13-year-old in my car, and he was saying to me a while ago, this political two-party system, how functional it is for the poor people of the country. And I was saying to him, children, what the politicians of this country don't know is that children, young people, are very political savvy, my brother.
Yes, they are. I remember interviewing two students at St. George's College, a male student and a female student, and they were expressing themselves quite clearly on the kind of system of government that they thought would work in Jamaica, and they selected, highlighted, and debated uh, that communism. That is what they came up with, to say that they think that might work best in a country like Jamaica.
So, brethren, this young one in the car with me, sir, I'm going to call his name because this youth will be very strong in my country when I'm gone, because the youth is the Jamaica of the future. This youth named Gabriel Colson. Remember that name, Mr. Dervan.
Mm-hmm.
You're a very bright boy. You're a man who love reading. You love books like Christian of Christ. If you just can go get a book, and the youth say, him not run no slave for nobody. He must read that book to empower himself when the time comes.
So that's Gabriel. Give me the surname again.
How many youngsters like him thinking in this manner?
Yes. Remind me of the surname. The first name is Gabriel, right?
Gabriel Colson.
Colson. Yes.
Yes, sir. Remember that name?
Yes, sir.
Remember that name. The boy brain is strong and forthright in them book and what is happening in them country right now.
Well, when we find them like that, we have to nurture them. We have to treat them with kid gloves.
And we have to tell the nation about them from now.
Yes.
Who have ears to hear, let them hear.
That's right.
All right, sir. All the very best to you.
To you too, and to young Gabriel Colson.
He's here in time to come.
You're welcome. Yes. Yes, sir. It is what it is. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Take care. All the best to you too. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Of course, we don't have a side. We have no horse in the race, as they say, as the expression goes. We are friends, a friend to all, enemy to none, quite frankly. But let's press on. Let's press on. Let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. taking your calls on 876-922-4112 876-922-4112 Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. We're seeing a lot of messages, but none relevant to the program right now from what we are seeing. And so we're going to go back to the phone lines, 876-922-4112 Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm giving thanks for life. And you?
Likewise. By the way, what's this program about today? Any particular thing or just?
It's both sides of the story, and we generally try not to come to this program with an agenda, so to speak, but that we come hoping to hear real stories, real experiences, true situations, and activities within this space. We want to hear from everybody.
Okay. Well, to be honest with you, I mean, there's so much issues that I learned to post here, but one of them is, I guess the latest with everybody talking about this increase that the government, the ministers have gotten, and excuse that the Minister of Finance gave, and I think the Prime Minister has alluded to it as well, why they gave such an increase to cabinet ministers and councillors, which I think is very pathetic. Because when you look at it, if you want to retain good people, attract good people to the service, to the politics or the civil servants, why not give the teachers them good salaries as well? The police, all of these, the doctors, the nurses.
But I saw somebody circulating something. I don't know if I can find it again. It popped up about nurses. The pay that some nurses are receiving is in line now with their counterparts in the US and the UK. I don't know. I am in no position to verify that, but it popped up on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that is just nurses. What about the police force? What about the teachers? Mm-hmm. Then you won't have teachers looking to go abroad and are having to do other things just to make them think.
Speaking of going abroad, sorry, stick a pin there. I've been monitoring the movements in the vicinity of the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, the Passport Office. And I've been noticing for weeks now the numbers of people at the Passport Office trying to either renew or to acquire one for the first time. I notice it has made the news now. It's in the news of the number of people or the rush on the Passport Office. Would really love to have a word with Mr. Winter of the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, to get a sense of what is happening, what is driving this move by so many Jamaicans, it seems, swarming the Passport Office with a view to acquiring that precious document.
Well, bring it to another point. I mean, that is a prolong, and I hope that the teachers then do get the type of increase that they deserve, and not this single-digit increases that the government after government have been doing over the years, while they themselves are getting the triple-digit increase. That is so much unfair. Now, when you think about Here it is that Jamaica is supposing to be country paradise and all. And really, actually, Jamaica is rich with a lot of natural resources.
Yeah,
And
fundamentally speaking, to put it in Jamaican parlance, Jamaica not do nobody nothing.
Now, look at it. Energy. We use energy in almost everything in this country and in the world. And here's it. Jamaica has 3 natural energy sources. We have the sunlight, we have wind, and we have over 120 rivers in this country. And yet still, our government, through Jamaica, uses over 10,000 barrels of oil per day. You understand? Over 10,000 barrels of oil per day. Now, if we were to harness all of this energy from the sun, the wind, and water, you know, Jamaica, you know what, we could even sell back energy to other countries or even to whoever controls JPS right now. We could sell them back energy. Now, some persons, including government, might argue that, oh, it's an expensive venture and all of that.
No, but hasn't that happened? That some of that has happened over the last few years.
Happened at a slower than a snail pace. Slower than a snail pace.
Yeah, well, you can always debate the pace, but just so that.
Look, simple thing. All the government has to do then, do it in phases then, all right? Start with all government buildings. All government buildings must be at least minimum 80% solar or renewable energy than rather up JPS. 80%. All government buildings, schools, hospitals, all of that.
There's a solar farm. There's a solar farm at the airport, the Norman Manley International Airport.
Right, but I'm saying, then now when you do that, then you say every new construction, every new development
must include renewables. I agree. I agree.
80%.
I agree.
That's the only way they will get their permit, and it must be enforced.
Yes.
You understand? You know how much money this country could have saved? Then they could have easily channeled that extra fund into making things better.
Yes, our oil bill is closer to 3 billion now, I think.
Look at even the street light. You know that in Montego Bay, on that, what they call, I think the minister told them call that the corridor, that tourism corridor. They put up these street lights. And right now, you find 5 of them working. You find plenty. Solar, why not use solar energy to run the street lights along this corridor and other parts?
Mind you, right? they did a section of the highway. Found out that the lamps were stolen and the solar panels. I don't know how you steal that in the view of the public. I don't get it. Hold a moment, please. One moment.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 4. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 4 heures. 现在几点了？4点。4 o'clock in the afternoon. Time just changed. It's now 4:01 in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Thank you so much for holding. Please continue.
Yes. So, when you think of I'm a young man. I've seen a lot. But when you think about it, we have had government after government in this country that, as far as I'm concerned, the bottom line of everything, they do not care about the people of this country. They don't care. And when I mean don't care, I mean, how can you still have persons living in areas where there's hardly a street light, don't have running water, the roads are bad, people still living in zinc, have been zinc fence and those things, right? That should not be. If you are that, I don't know if you have read the article, Mr. Malcolm, but some time ago, the newly elected Prime Minister of Grenada made the Grenada carry the full page about some statement he made. And one of the main things that he pointed out and said he was going to focus on is the human workforce. The workforce in Grenada, people. That is what he was focusing on, and he sees the importance of that. But our government is far from that.
I don't know if it's the same story, but Guyana has taken that position as well, that separate and apart from the obvious, you now have oil, and that means a lot of money, quite frankly. But more important than that is the development of their people, and they have been putting in place, from what I read, in Guyana, certain policies to ensure that their people, the Guyanese people, benefit from being equipped with certain skills and capabilities to be able to spread and to share that knowledge, so that they develop their own team of experts right there in Guyana.
And we have persons, Jamaicans in this country, that you'll be surprised. It will surprise you of what they can do if given the opportunity.
That's right. That's right. I was just reading about a Jamaican who went to space recently. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was thinking, I mean, we have problems with crime and all of that. And, honestly, I'm going to say this. If the PC cannot manage traffic, simple traffic, how is it that they can deal with crime and violence? Simple traffic. That time you go some places and the traffic light not working at these major intersections and no police officer is there. So that's good one, and it causes major problems, right? And it's not just in Kingston, but not just in Ochi, is even in Montego Bay, right? A simple thing as traffic. Crime and violence is not hard to deal with in this country, That country of approximately 3 million persons. It takes the police officers or the person in charge of the police officers to hold them to accountability. So they themselves hold themselves to accountability as well. And get the answer that the work is done. Because you cannot have police officers either having a spot check on the road and one officer trying to stop a vehicle and the other officer is on his phone, checking whatever message and all those things. Stuff like that going on. You have to have some accountability and drop. Second job serious.
You might have to take some pictures and video record some of these situations and submit to the office of the commissioner.
Listen, if you don't want to be a police officer and do the job, simply do not become one. Do not become a police officer, right? Because it requires you to have it, to serve, to protect, and to reassure. Where is the service? Where is the protection? Where is the reassurance that, yes, you are looking out for each and every citizen? So another point I want to make, Mr. Malcolm. No, it has been said, this amnesty that we got with the ticket thing the other day, it was not for revenue interest, but honestly, one has to really look at that seriously, because it must be for revenue interest, because some of the things as in motorcyclists riding without helmets and all the things and all that thing going on. It's still going on. It's still happening because so if it is to bring law and order to the thing, why is it you still have these infractions going on in front of police officers? Police officers riding or driving fast, seeing this thing, and it turn like a blind eye and go about the business. Because as one can only see that it's all about generating the money. And I must say that it's a fact that they have gotten a lot of revenue from this amnesty, which a lot of us are glad for it. I'm not saying it wasn't good. A lot of us are glad for it. But don't come out and say to us it's not about generating money. That's what it's about, because it is a fact that the government gets a lot of money from transportation, motor vehicle, whatever, transportation, users of the road. That's where they get a lot of money from. Right? So this is just another way of them killing the till. So I want to touch on the hospital at Cornwall Hospital. Now look how long that has been refurbishing and doing this and that. You know that seriously the amount of money that is spent already and it's still not yet finished. You could have probably literally built another hospital, you know. You could have even improved vastly on the hospital in Falmouth. Falmouth Hospital has so much land space and buildings here that is not fully utilized. You know, they just improve on the thing at Falmouth. Falmouth can serve far more areas than it's doing right now and better equipped. But they're spending so much money at Cornwall, and Cornwall still not finished. Don't know when it's going to finish, because sooner or later you may hear that is another overrun of why they have to defer to more time to finish the place and more costly again.
Yeah, moving from what? From $10.5 billion to $14.1 billion.
And it's going to go more again, and they're going to find another excuse to tell us as Jamaicans why it is like that. And that is not fair. Now, I have a lot to say, but one last point I'm going to make is that here it is, we as a country, people from all over the world have been saying, oh, Jamaicans are nice and service is good and all of that. But there's a lot of cliche in that. Because when you look at it, service, what is service? What is customer service? Good customer service. You ever been to a gas station, some of these gas stations, Mr. Malcolm, and you drive up to be served, right? And can you imagine the pump attendant going to look at you? You drive up to be served, and they're going to look at you and ask if you can come out of your vehicle to be served to open your gas tank. They're going to you're on the right-hand side of your vehicle, the right-hand drive, and they're going to look to stretch over somebody sitting in the passenger side to collect from you or to ask you what you want.
Yes.
Why not come around to the driver side? Why not deal with the driver? That's the person driving the vehicle.
Yes.
Right? But the service, even simple gas station, let me tell you, I can tell you a number of gas stations where the service is terrible. The one at Coral Ground, the Rubis, is terrible. Right? And this is Jamaicans looking to serve Jamaicans. I mean, we need to really step up on our service. Service to not just foreigners when they come here, but even regular citizens, ordinary Jamaicans. The service, you know, they tend to ask you, how are you? And if you say bad, nobody seems to can go further. Because a lot of times they ask, how are you? They expect you to say, I'm good, I'm great, I'm excellent. But if you say you're bad, I mean, things are going on. They don't know what to say, and even the banks, that's the same thing they do. They ask you, how are you? And you say you're bad because you're really bad. They don't know how to respond, what to do, what to say, right? Because they didn't expect that. Because They have been programmed to just say, how are you? But they don't genuinely care about you. They don't care. And that is where we need to get. If we were there before, probably long before my time, we need to get back there where we care about each and every one of us. Whether you're black, white, Chinese, whether you have money or you don't, whether you drive or you walk. We need to care about one another. And that is how, if we are truly to be the God-blessed country and the Christians that we are to be, that is how we need to care about people. Definitely putting God first in everything and care about people, care about our fellow brothers and sisters, men, women, and child. Right?
We hear you loud and clear.
Jamaica. So I just want to add those few things, and I really think that Jamaica can be and do much better than where it's at right now. Much better.
You're right on that.
If the government of this country, some may agree with me and some may disagree. If we could only take a page, we don't want the whole book, but just one page out of Cuba book. And that page is the one in which where politicians, there's no politician, no minister in Cuba drive a Prado or a Range Rover. None whatsoever. But yet still our ministers drive Prado and Range Rover, all other vehicles, and then leave it running for hours while them in 3-hour meeting. Right? That is not here. That, a former minister government said, politics is about who gets what, when, and where. That is what that former minister said politics is about. It's not, don't care about the people, and that is where we need to go. We need to start care about, we need leaders who will care about the people, how people are living, where they are living, the betterment of people in this country, rather than themselves, rather than align themselves, fuck themselves, so that they can laugh and smile all the way home. We need to change that.
Thank you very much for the call. All the best. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. There's more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
The Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA, is responsible for licensing, certification, cess administration, and the provision of training and advisory services to farmers and other key stakeholders, as it regulates coffee, cocoa, coconut, and the spices including pimento, nutmeg, ginger, and turmeric. We own the Jamaica Blue Mountain and Jamaica High Mountain coffee trademarks. Please call us at 876-758-1259 or email legal@jacra.org. Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call this and every Wednesday evening at 8 with Powering Your Health. Powering Your Health is Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to health and wellness, your one-stop place to power a healthy lifestyle. How can we help you to power your health? You can reach the show anytime by calling 876-922-4112 or by sending a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Brought to you by Benson Pharmacy and Wellington Dental. That's Powering Your Health. Powerful health and wellness discussion and interaction. This and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Only on Power 106 FM.
They can bend it all they want. It's why we're waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't care, we just know that the body's fair. So we keep on waiting on the world to change.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Let's greet those of you who have joined us since the last time we checked. Who do we have here? Dwight Spence says, bless up to all. Carter George says, please smash the like button and make your voice and contribution be heard. Thanks. Winston Lauza says, good night, listeners from London. Good night to you too, Winston Lauza in London. Thank you very much for tuning in. Also messaging us, Inez Ayona Campbell saying, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and viewers. Happy Memorial Day. Indeed, happy Memorial Day to you too, Inez Ayona Campbell. Jeannie Chambers says, good afternoon, teacher. To you too, Jeannie Chambers. Marva Griffiths Herman says, good afternoon from Burbank, California. Well, hello to you, Marva Griffiths Herman, and all the other Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica in Burbank, California. About that Jamaican who went to space, here's the story. When Virgin Galactic astronaut and mission specialist Christopher Huey took his first space flight on Unity 25 on May 25, 2023, he wore Jamaican and United States flag patches to reflect his conviction that the trip represents the completion of a journey that had its beginnings on the Caribbean island of Jamaica. The son of Jamaican immigrants, Huey's personal origin story begins when his mother moved from Harvey River in the parish of Hanover to Chicago at the age of 17 to live with her aunt and pursue better life opportunities. She then went to Florida, where Huey grew up. Huey's mother flew to New Mexico to watch her son take his first space flight from spaceport. Huey earned a degree in aerospace engineering from the University of Maryland and worked in the industry prior to joining Virgin Galactic in 2016 to serve as a loads and simulation engineer. He became the world's 19th Black astronaut. Can you imagine that? In the history of the world. This Jamaican, of whom or in whom we're well pleased, Christopher Huey. Christopher Huey is the 19th Black astronaut in the world. But as a child, he never imagined he would have a chance to travel into space. He did admit to playing with Legos and building spaceships and flying machines, and that he did want to become an astronaut for a while before deciding he wanted to be a pilot, before ultimately becoming a space engineer. He thought there was a 1 in 10 million chance of becoming an astronaut. Speaking to metro.co.uk from the Gateway to Space Center at Virgin Galactic, Huey paid tribute to his mother before traveling beyond the Earth's atmosphere for the first time. His story is likely familiar to many Jamaicans in the United Kingdom, which is marking the 75th anniversary of the arrival of the HMT Windrush from the Caribbean. His parents divorced when he was very young, but his mother was determined to give him a better life and spent her working life employed by hospitals until she retired to ensure he had access to opportunities she never had. According to Christopher Huey, his mother sacrificed a lot so that he could take advantage of opportunities as they presented themselves. And this is why he views his space flight as the culmination of their journey. Christopher Huey said the space flight is not just for Jamaica, but also for immigrants everywhere who are looking for opportunities to do the best they can in the life they've been given. Living with his wife and daughter in Los Angeles, California, Christopher Huey wants to show others with backgrounds similar to his own how to succeed in their lives. He said he wants to be a role model for people who look like him and help them understand how they can break down barriers to what they want to achieve via determination and focus. A co-founder of the Black Leaders in Aerospace Scholarship and Training BLAST program, which mentors college students, Christopher Huey says one of his life goals is to change the world in whatever way he can. He advises others to watch what he does next while acknowledging little could match going into space. Christopher Huey's Unity 25 fellow crew members included Beth Moses, Luke Mays, and Jamila Gilbert. While he has a detailed knowledge of the VSS Unity and VMS Eve craft, as he had worked on virtually every part of the spaceship and mothership, he took a more passive role in the recent mission. The launch was designed to make a final assessment of the flight and astronaut experience prior to paying customers on 90-minute flights in the near future. The cost of the flight reservations totals, are you ready for this? $450,000 US. The cost of a space flight. The cost of the flight reservations, 450, and that's a 90-minute flight, space flight. 450,000 US dollars. But hey, there's a Jamaican in the mix who doesn't have to or didn't have to pay a cent because he was a part and is still a part of the company. So that's the story. You can Google him. He is Christopher. Sorry, I just saw another bit. Right, sorry. I was saying you can go ahead and Google him. Christopher Huey, Huie. Christopher Huey. Now you can tell your children that a Jamaican has been to space and back. So that means they too will be able to, at some point, if they so desire, to make that journey. We just felt we had to share that one this afternoon. Thank you very much for your patience to the caller who has been, is he still there? Yes, he is. Good afternoon. Thanks for your patience. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Dervan.
Good afternoon.
Couple of things here. I didn't call for this one though, but as far as customer service in Jamaica, one is attitude. Yeah, attitude problem. But I think communication is a big part of it. The communication skill is a problem. I'll give you an example. I went to a gas station, a new built, I think, Exxon, out by Iron Shore.
Oh, there's you're sure it's Exxon? There's an Exxon at Iron Shore? EXXON?
Yeah, it's right after you pass the Blue Diamond,
Okay. That's
before you get to the Blue Diamond, going to Iron Shore.
I'll look out for it the next time. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they probably open like maybe a good maybe 3-4 years now. Yeah, it's not too long they open. They opened right before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, I was looking for a windscreen washer to put in my car.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't find one. I went there and got one. I was going somewhere. I want to make sure I have it in my car.
Yes.
So I was in the pump getting some gas, and literally gonna put it in my car because I wanted for safety. The girl came over to me and said, you can't put it in you can't put it in yourself.
Why not?
What do you mean? About a year.
You can't be serious.
About a year. She said, I just bought it about a year and I want to put it in my car because I want it in there. She said, look at me again, you can't put it in yourself. Well, you can't go over there, so I'll put it in.
What a thing.
I said, miss, you realize if you had just said to me, sir, please pull off the pump and there's a parking right there. I didn't realize it. I didn't realize that I could have put out the pump. And
yes.
I said, Miss, if you had just said to me, sir, can you please pull off the pump and go there and utilize that ear to put in it, I would have no problem. But the communication skill, you can't put in your sign up.
Yeah. No, it's pretty common. The other one you'll get is you can't park there, sir. Full stop. Nothing else. Not even to say, excuse me, sir, or excuse me, ma'am. You that's a no parking area, but there are a couple of parking spaces on this side. We don't go that far.
And so I'm trying to educate her, and she look at me like I'm crazy, like like stupid, like I'm stupid. I'm the one who's stupid to telling her that if you had just said to me, sir, can you please pull off the pump? There's a spot over there you could put in when you put in the car. Would be no problem, but she look at me like I'm crazy, like I'm telling her bad word, like I'm cursing her out. So I think communication problem is part of our problem in Jamaica. We do not know how to communicate properly with people, so we come off in a very ignorant way, and it causes a lot of problem between two people or between a group of people. So I just want to put that in there.
Yeah, it's called belligerence. Too many of our people are belligerent. Belligerent. They're hostile and aggressive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where do I start? So I wanted to just correct something here. Not correct. I just want to say, I know a gentleman called it that we had the U.S. when we were going to Iraq, we had bombed. I don't know. We said, we dropped bombs. Yes, we did drop a lot of bombs in Iraq, but we did not bomb the apartment building. We did not bomb. It wasn't no. I never remember that we targeted those facilities, apartment buildings, hospitals, schools, medical facility. Yeah, maybe a bomb stray hit something. I really didn't know that was it. Again, why we should have gone to Iraq? Was it right to go? That's another debate. But we have never done what's going on in Ukraine. So I just want to clarify that, because I think we need to come with clarity. Because if you have kids, you see, children learn very easily. They pick up things very easily, and when you speak and you have kids, they're gonna run with it. They're gonna say, "Me hear my dad say that. I hear Dervan Malcolm say that. I heard it on Dervan Malcolm show," and that's it. Argument done. If it's true that you're black, that's just to show you the value of democracy, okay? And we have to always fight for democracy. I want to say, by the way, happy Memorial Day to all the vets out there who have served our country so gracefully, so that we can have a freedom of democracy, okay? Because, people do not value democracy because they never lived into a country where they can't say certain things, they can't do certain things, so they don't know. A lot of people will talk and tell you, do you want to live on a system where you can't practice your religion? They say, what are you talking about? I believe in God. I believe in my God. Okay. But what if I tell you can't serve that God? What do you say? Are you get persecuted for who you are? Okay.
Hold a moment, please. One moment.
You're listening to Pearl 106 FM. The time is now 4:30. You're listening to Pearl.
Yes, indeed, that's what it is. 4:30, ¿Qué hora es? Well, it's now 4:31. ¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5:29. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5:29. 现在几点了？5点2九分。$9:29 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the students listening to us, all the schoolers from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity. just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. And parents and guardians, do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be, doing whatever they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more here on both sides of the story. Poro 106 FM. Thanks for holding. You were mentioning persecution as we were taking the break.
Yeah, I mean, in Russia right now, if you're a comedian, even China, in China, if you're a comedian, you got to be careful of what you say about the president and the Communist Party. They may lock you up. So I just want to say to people, you can go down the line. Who you are, for example, I think people born gay, if you ask me. And if you're born gay, you shouldn't never be persecuted. That's who you are. I can't change who you are. I'm not God. I may disapprove who you are, but that's who you are. Simple things like these things, people don't understand how important it is. We stand up for freedom. Okay, it's very, very important. And we should remind us all the time. Next thing at Dervan, I think somebody wrote here and said, nurses are getting equivalent to what U.S. nurses are getting. Again, these are misleading information. What the minister did when he was on the what do you call it? With the lady. What's her name again? Diane. What's her name again? And TVJ. She comes on.
Dion Jackson Miller.
Yeah. Dion Jackson Miller. Yeah.
Mm.
What the minister did, he came with some graph. And I think there are some nurses, I think their pay were like substantially increased. These are specialized nurses. And I think there are very few of them have nurses in a certain administrative role. These are not your normal nurses that on the floor. Pay was to increase dramatically like that. So, and that was Mr. General for the minister to do that. Because again, what I realized in Jamaica, and here too, politicians do it here too, so I know Jamaica. When it suited them, they will draw off a certain tool to make their point across, come across as if they are on the right side. And if you don't listen carefully, and you don't read, I think I heard Dr. Herb was saying today, Dervan, we don't read a lot in Jamaica. Well, here too, some people here don't read a lot. And that's part of our problem too. And in newspaper, unfortunately, sometimes when they put a story out, it's very, I call it, it's not there. They don't give you a full text, and they don't go into and do research and follow up and dig into stuff, so that when you read the story, you get a full understanding of what's going on. That's part of our problem. That's part of our problem too,
Yeah. True.
Because if you read an article, and it does like two paragraphs, and that's it. The article done it. Well, where does it leave you?
Mind you, stories in the press have to be written in such a way that if you wanted a cursory picture of what is trending or what is happening or what is in the news, then you shouldn't write in a way that sends someone on this long and winding road, as opposed to at the outset making it clear what the subject matter is and then proceed from there.
Dervan, I don't mean it that way. Trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about. You just can't write for the writing's sake.
Right.
Give people credible information so they have the information. Simple. I mean, I don't use no big word neither, because that's one of the next thing we would like to do. We use big words, and I don't know. For some reason, we use these words that.
No, but we mustn't fear words. We mustn't fear words either. But one of the things I teach is the KISS Theory, KISS. Keep it short and simple. And
Right,
the
keep it short
first,
and simple.
the other thing I teach is that the first rule of public speaking: do not talk about what you don't know.
I totally agree on that.
Yeah,
Or if you say you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know, you ask question.
that's right.
But if you are a writer and journalist, you're supposed to do your research.
Of course.
Talk to people who know. So when you write your stuff, you can quote and say, "I'm getting it from such an institution. I'm getting it from the payroll department." What are the next thing before I go here, Dervan, quickly? I'd like to know, why is it that every minister in Jamaica has a different payroll department? Why is that?
I'm sorry, I don't know the ins and outs of that area. I would have to check it myself.
Because it seems to me that's very inefficient if that's the case.
What they have been saying a lot is that there were about 350 odd systems or methodologies or policies in relation to public sector salaries, etc. And what they have done now is to bring that number down dramatically, I think.
Well, that would be good if they, streamline things. But I don't think you need every ministry to have a payroll department. That's just, to me, very inefficient. Yeah. I think you could have. You don't need probably. Maybe military probably just need their own. I don't see the payroll department for everybody, for every ministry. You just have one payroll department, and they take care of all the payrolls for the government. But anyhow, that's the next issue. But again, we need to read more, and the newspaper need to do a better job of putting out information out there so people can have it, Dervan.
Yeah, we can always do better.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Take care. All the best. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Still streaming live and taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Earl Allen says, blessed good afternoon, Ambassador Malcolm. Big up yourself and big up to all who make Child Month treat a successful venture. Brother Malcolm, the treat was acknowledged by the Kingston Western Police and some other sponsors. And big up to all the children who turned out and the people of Gordon Avenue off Maxfield Avenue. And that's from Earl Allen. We're happy to know it went well, Earl Allen. Thanks for keeping us in the loop and all the very best. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live, and a couple of other messages to clear right now. Let's see where to start. White House, where the shooting took place last night. Someone has sent a picture. Sorry to hear about that. Our condolences. Glenn Roy says, good evening. Well, still afternoon where we are, Glenn Roy, but maybe it's still evening where you are, so no problem. He says, good evening, Mr. Malcolm. Blessings to you and family of Power 106. There's a district in St. Thomas called Corey Hall. We need help with the road. No car can drive on it. And it's the easiest road access to Princess Margaret Hospital in the parish. Need ASP. Oh, ASP Neil. Something is missing here. Don't know if the message is from ASP Neil or somebody's trying to direct our attention. Otherwise, can you fix that, please? Who sent the message? Let's see. Glenroy, Sybil, fix your message, please. Thank you. So we can better understand what you're saying. Let's see. Let's go up the line. Neville, otherwise known as Salah, says, Dervan, the gentleman who is saying that the PNP and the JLP are the same, The PNP is not the same as the JLP. The PNP is for empowerment. The JLP are not. Don't know where he gets his argument from. Well, I heard Dr. Gale and Ralston Hyman essentially agreeing on that very point. I heard them agreeing that both parties are the same. I think they meant philosophically pretty much the same, a capitalist centric approach. But anyway, the rest of the message, and don't know where he gets his argument from. The PNP help the ordinary man in the streets. The JLP is only for the rich. Salah from Kingston. Well, that's your opinion, Salah from Kingston, and you're entitled to it. Thank you for sharing. This one says, Mr. Malcolm, the amount of misinformation in the public sphere is staggering. Some of it stems from genuine ignorance. Some of it is deliberately being cultivated. I think the media, without fear or favor, have to dispel this information because misinformation is a threat to democracy. For instance, the gentleman who is currently on the program suggested, for instance, that the doctors, amongst other public sector groups, have not received a significant increase. That's actually not true. The political directorate is not the only group that has received salary increases in the region of 100 to 200%. The junior doctors have in fact received 200% in their salary. Also, principals, vice principals, master teachers, and some other categories of teachers have received salary increases of between 100 and 200%. However, most rank and file teachers have received only 20% salary increase. Same applies to nurses. Top tier nurses have received approximately 200%, but rank and file nurses only 20% increase. But the bottom line is that it is not true that only the political directorate has received salary increases in the region of 100 to 200%. Misinformation is not in the interest of the public, ultimately speaking. Jermaine from St. James. Thank you very much, Jermaine from St. James, for your message, and all the very best. Close to another break right here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Paro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Let's go to the break and come back.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
Tune in to Farm Talk every second and third Tuesday of each month at 6:18 a.m. for the feature Hyper Food Independence. Hyper Food Independence will focus on solutions for farmers, such as land, animal husbandry, agronomy, and more. That's Hyper Food Independence every second and third Tuesday from 6:18 to 6:30 a.m. during Farm Talk, only on Power 106 FM. Hyper Food Independence is sponsored by Hypro.
Waiting on the world to change.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5:14. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 5:14. 现在几点了？5点加14分。14 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned in to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, How productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Barbara Horton says, Mr. Malcolm, good afternoon to you and all your listeners all over the world. No, I think this message went already. That's an old message. The new message for today is good afternoon. So true, Mr. Malcolm. And I'm not sure what the subject is, but Barbara Horton agrees. Thank you for your message and all the very best. Let's see. Right. Let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon to Wayne Thompson. Thank you very much for tuning in here on YouTube. Good to see you and all the very best. Good afternoon to Michelle Tuller-Neal. She is the Global Jamaica Diaspora Representative for the Northeast United States. Good to see you online as well, Michelle Tuller-Neal, and all the very best. Let's continue. And if you weren't aware, we should share with you that the National Skills Competition is on at the National Arena this week. And it means we're going to be away from the program for a couple of days. So all things being well, we should be able to join you tomorrow afternoon here on Both Sides of the Story. But of course, things can happen. So we have a contingency in place. But for Thursday and Friday, all things being well, we'll definitely be at the National Arena for the National Skills Competition for the opening ceremony tomorrow morning and the closing ceremony subsequently. So you can stay tuned. So we can confirm that we definitely will be doing national duties in the National Arena on Thursday and Friday. So we won't be able we'll be away from work, from our regular duties here on Both Sides of the Story on Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow we should be fine tomorrow because of the time schedule that we're looking at right now. But we're looking forward to the National Skills Competition, and we want to send our best wishes for a successful event to the organizers and especially to the participants in this National Skills Competition. Just thought we'd use the opportunity to get that bit of information in so you would be well aware and prepared. How about that? Thank you very much for your understanding. As we continue with more here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Did you know that the giant Tom Kringle cotton tree, that historical landmark at Ferry on the road between Kingston and Spanish Town, was completely destroyed by fire? It happened on this day in 1977. This is just one of the many famous old cotton trees in Jamaica. And similar trees gave their names to Spur Tree Hill, got it? Spur Tree Hill and Halfway Tree. So those are some landmarks back in the day when before the areas became as developed as they are now. So we had Tom Kringle cotton tree, which was destroyed, completely destroyed by fire in 1977. It was before that damaged during the late 1960s when the new 4-lane highway was being constructed. And the other famous old cotton trees in Jamaica and similar trees gave their names to Spur Tree Hill, and Halfway Tree. The Tom Kringle tree was named after the hero of a popular 19th century novel by Michael Scott, Tom Kringle's Log, who was mentioned in it in an episode, in the book which relates the story of the hero's adventures in Jamaica. The tree is an object of superstition in Jamaica as it is said to provide shelter for duppies. It is said the tree should never be cut with an axe without watering the spirits which dwell under it with white rum. Legend says that old King's House in Spanish Town was destroyed by fire after a cotton tree in the yard was cut down to make a canoe without the ritual being conducted. The diameter of the Tom Kringle tree was 72 feet. On this day in 1997, a High Court judge ruled that leader of the opposition, Edward Seaga, did not have the right to call Deputy Commissioner of Police Leslie Harper a political activist while speaking at a function at the Wyndham Hotel the previous year. Also, as we continue to go down memory lane and share with you some of the developments of the past, the happenings of the past. Well, let's see. 1969, Esme Grant, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and National Insurance, was sworn in by Governor General Clifford Campbell as temporary minister. The position was to be held by her during the absence from Jamaica of L.G. Newland, who was representing Jamaica at the International Labour Organization ILO meeting in Geneva, Switzerland. Ms. Grant was the first female member of the cabinet since independence in 1962. And another one for you. 1975, Reverend Richmond Nelson stepped down as president of the Jamaica Council of Churches. In his final presidential address, he voiced the opinion that socialism is here to stay, and therefore the Christian community should learn to see within this system those ideas which best express the church's concern for human development. However, he adds, we must ever be on the alert against not so much the doctrine of the ideas, but about those methods of the socialist which might be repugnant to the Christian ideals. Suffragan Bishop of Montego Bay, the Right Reverend Neville de Souza, was elected the new president. And do we have time for maybe another bit of the history? Councillor Edward Fagan resigned as a member of the Jamaica Labour Party because of the attitude adopted by the party's chairman, Rose Leon. Fagan defeated the president of the People's National Party, Norman Manley, in the general elections in 1944, but lost to Manley in their return bout in 1949. I think that's why we have a Fagan Avenue in Grants Pen. I believe that's named in honor of Councillor Edward Fagan. That was 1952. 1945, Ethel Hart, one of the pioneer women hoteliers in Jamaica, sold her hotel, Ethel Hart, on Gloucester Avenue in Montego Bay to James Marzuka. And that name should remind you of that massive, lighting and electrical outlet near the York Park. Is that York Park? York Park Fire Station, I believe. That's a bit of the history there. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
When you trust your television, what you get is what you got. When they own the information, oh, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's not that we don't care, we just know everybody fails. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. We're still waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. One day our generation is gonna rule the population. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. Now we keep on waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change. Waiting on the world to change.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
news, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.
Bye. Bye.